Alright, we're officially live. That's cool. Just had to make sure the broadcaster is working. If anybody is watching... Oh, man, cool. Let me silence my phone. That's fantastic. Like, as soon as we start, the phone goes off.
I didn't hear anything for this.
Alright, so, welcome to the Ilderon Tales. This is Group C, a prelude to it, which is going to be super interesting. This is the first prelude we've ever done to a session. We don't have all of Group C through the heart with us. We have just one member, Prene, playing, controlling Netra tonight. And we are going to have a very quick session for everybody. So I'm going to start off with a quick recap, just to bring everybody up to speed on where we are at. And yeah, well, I guess before we get into it, everything that you're seeing here tonight is live storytelling. Nothing is rehearsed, nothing is pre-decided, and we have no idea how any of the results are going to go through. And so, yeah, anything can happen. There are rules that we are rolling by as far as how we roll the die, but other than that, that's the fun part about D&D, is the story can go anywhere. And we are in a world called Ilderon. It is a homebrewed world to this world, and there is a wiki linked below if you want to learn more about it. When we last left this group off, the party had, oh god, so much had happened, and I will admit I didn't watch your guys' last session. Normally I like to do that right before I do these, so I know exactly everything that happened. But for the most, oh, go ahead.
So for like the most relevant part is that they're in the water.
Yep, I remember. Okay, you like, I don't know what just happened, but I just got a lightning strike. Alright, so the last session started with the party in a section of town called Westlineth. It was a military, or it was a old elven fortress that got sucked into this domain of Isildrad. And while the fortress is mostly abandoned, there are still a group of elves that live inside of it that are openly hostile to all of the Overlord's forces and all of the residents of Isildrad. That said, the party explored that side of town for a few minutes before they decided it was too dangerous and to retreat. Jumping back over to the other part of the party, Netra led several people through the streets of Isildrad into a shopkeeper's shop by the name of Dravier, by the name of Dravier. After leading them to Dravier's shop, he led Ilderon, Lathy's grandfather, whose name is Pam, and her brother, whose name escapes me right now, all into the shop, and Dravier said that he could give them all, he could hide all of them inside the city. 3 in his back storeroom.
3 nights.
Yes, 3 in his back storeroom and 1 working the shop. Ilderon started to pick up on oddities as Dravier was talking. Dravier seems to be a smuggler of sorts, and really uncertain as to how he is getting his goods or how he is moving them about his city. She promised Netra that she would investigate further and consult with Netra, then allow Netra to consult with the party, because the rest of Group C are raving lunatics. From there, on the other side of the group ran into Galesina, the group reconvened and looked for a place to stay. They stayed at the Sodella Manor, which belonged to Galesina.
Sorry.
Hey, Tracy, we're in the middle of a recap. Good, sir. I'm gonna mute you. We're live. But I'll unmute him later. Alright, so, the group ran into Gelsina at the Sodella Manor. They found out that, well, everybody that stayed in the town knew that Sodella, Magistrate Sodella, was the one of the first magistrates executed as the Overlord took over and brutally murdered, and that the manor has long been empty as a omen of bad luck. Gelsina ran into the party. The party paid her to go and ask the historians more questions as they are trying to convene with the secret group. And then they stalked her and followed her to the historian's entrance. Netra, on the other hand, decided to go into work for that day. And this is actually where we're going to pick up. While Netra showed up to work 4 hours early, and while serving as a scribe for the Overlord, she heard more information about this prisoner being kept in their dungeons, and from there decided to, or rather, the guards didn't want to watch this prisoner, and said this prisoner needed way too much care, and instead passed off their duty onto the scribes since Netra was there so early. Netra has an hour to watch this prisoner before she has to return to her shift. And so that is where we're going to pick up, and let us go to Isildrad. Alright. Yeah, I have to find Isildrad. Oh, there we go. Cool.
There it is.
Alright, so, we can delete this dungeon because you won't need it. And, alright, so, before you step down into the dungeon. There's one member of the 8 in this dungeon sifting through salvage goods. The 8 are the 8 mages that the Overlord uses to produce food for the city by transmuting all the salvage goods into, magical food. So he's in the back of this dungeon sifting through food. In the foundation of the Tower of Happiness, this stone cell has been magically shaped and carved into the foundation here. There's no door on it. There's just a single young girl sitting in the back corner against the stone. She has long brown hair. She is wearing brown robes, and they are torn and tattered. She is sitting on the floor. There is a tray of food in front of her. She is not eating it. She is looking despondently forward.
But she's completely dry, you said, right? New fashion, and she's completely dry.
She is completely dry. Not only is she dry, she is also clean. While her robes don't look like amazingly new or anything, her body and skin, there's no grime or anything. Which is a very rare sight for Isildrad.
Am I out of earshot of the... do I know who the other mage is?
I believe...
I know a few of them.
I believe I told you his name. Let me double check real quick for you. Periphas.
Periphas. Yeah. Okay, so it's the one that doesn't like me.
I believe Cinephin is the one in a bad mood today.
But Periphas is the one that doesn't like me or Dusty.
Oh, he probably doesn't like a lot of people. That's fair. Dang stupid city residents always needing to eat food.
But he's within earshot, right?
Actually, I'll roll you a percentage die on that. So the pile that would occupy this place would just be this probably 40 feet in diameter, just huge pile of stuff just deposited here because they salvage everything. The mages look for anything of value that they can transmute. he's going to be on the other side of this pile. He is going to be within earshot, but he's making so much noise, like digging through this pile, that, you know, if you just like knelt down and had an intimate conversation, he would likely have trouble hearing you. Like ever so often, you're going to hear like stone falling against maybe some metal, or him breaking apart wood boards as he looks what's between them, and just this constant barrage of just like the sounds of stuff being rustled.
Right. And the prison, like, is it just a door, or is it like bars?
So it's a doorway into a stone room. There is no door.
So there's nothing keeping her from like sort of walking out. But, like,
yeah, there's nothing keeping her from walking out. It is a incredibly strange prison.
Can I just walk in?
Yes, you can.
Since he doesn't have vision of me, right? Paraphus?
Yeah, I mean, he can look up at you and see you, but I mean, as long as you're keeping the prisoner, you know, guarded, he doesn't care what you do.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna walk into the doorway and sort of rest against the wall and sort of look at the food and look at her and be like, "Are you not hungry?"
She looks up at you, and then looks down and says, "I don't want to eat your food."
Are you worried it's poisoned or something, or do you just not have an appetite?
She looks up at you and says, "I don't want your special treatment."
For me, this isn't. For me, this isn't special treatment. I treat everyone like this.
And she's going to look and say, "Well, where are the rest of your prisoners?"
I don't know. I'm new here.
Netra can roll me can roll me a history check on that if she wants. But I will say, even on a nat 1, you're gonna know the concept of prisoners is strange. Most of the time, it's like, oh, that person's defiant. Just execute them. And she's gonna say, your other companions threw me down here in a private, pretty cell because I don't know, everybody is always treating me like this. I can rough it out with anybody else who's suffering in these dungeons.
Again, I don't really think there's anybody else down here. I mean, I've lived in the city for 15 years. Anybody that comes in, comes out, either dead or they come out with a new look on life, as it were. And they aren't really my companions. At most, they're coworkers. At best, they're coworkers.
She's gonna pick up a utensil off the tray. Still looking down, like, away from you, and start, like, poking at the food. Doesn't really seem like she even wants to eat it. And she's gonna say, "So where are we? Nobody's told me."
I'm just gonna ask her, I guess where we are depends on where you're from. Because either you'll know what I'm talking about, or you'll be completely confused. And that's a pretty big difference as far as explaining where we are.
And she's going to say, "I'm from Marbleport, but I was serving in Dockensdale."
So how does one get from Dockensdale all the way to Isildred?
And she says, "Issel what?"
I'm gonna ask her, like, have you heard, like, how old are you? Because, like, there's a chance that she might not have heard of Isildred being disappeared.
Oh, well, she's going to, Actually, I'm gonna roll her a die real quick, and she's, going to look up at she's gonna look up at Netra and say, I'm 16.
And then that makes a lot of sense. You would have been 1 when this city disappeared. And you've never heard of anybody talk about a disappearing city. Sunk into the water.
And she's going to say, and she's going to look a little bit like more scared and say, where are we? Where am I?
You are in Isildred, like I said. A town that is cut off to the world that we know. And when I tell you I've been here for 15 years, child, I mean 15 years. And there are not many that have been able to make it in here in those 15 years. You are the first one that I've seen that has not been amongst the people outside. So what makes you special that you would be in here and not amongst the people outside?
When you say that, she's gonna sit down and go, or rather not sit down, 'cause she still is sitting. She's going to wrap her arms back around her legs and go back to kind of despondent and say, not special.
Well, even if not, you're not special. You at least have a name, right? And I just ask, my name is Netra. What is yours?
Still looking away, she responds, Lydia.
It's unfortunate we have to meet like this, Lydia. Hopefully soon you won't have to be meeting people like this anymore. And then I ask, and then I'm just gonna say, but first, you are just the first. You are not the first one that I've met that's come in here in the last couple of weeks. And I ask her if she knows anybody by the name. What's Lil Haren's group?
Lil Haren's group. I don't think they've given you the name, but I mean, Altus, Icium,
yeah, I was gonna go with somebody who was like easier to be friends with, who wouldn't have pissed her off as much. But I'm gonna say, do you know a Lil Haren?
And she's gonna nod and say she's a famous politician from Dockensdale.
But you never met her? Or sorry, I'm gonna let her finish, sorry.
Yeah, and she's gonna shake her head and say, no, she was in the city. She was in the city when I was kidnapped, I believe, but I haven't had the opportunity. I was handling some pretty secretive business.
Then I hesitate to ask, but would this secretive business involve some folk named Icium, Altus, Lumberjacks, and are those the 3 that you've been dealing with?
She's you're gonna see a a rise from her of actual interest, and she's gonna say, are they in these dungeons too? Have they been taken?
No, unfortunately, you're the only one in this dungeon. They are helping me try and help others. But they're off doing something right now. I have no idea what, while I'm working here. I'm gonna say... sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
And I'm gonna say, so what was it that you were doing with them, and how'd that lead to you coming here? Because if all of you were working on the same secretive thing, that has to play a role in what's come here, or how you come here.
Lydia's gonna pick up her utensil and start stabbing it into her food, and have kind of a small hysteric like smile and then laugh a little bit. It's like, that's a long story.
Do I have a good sense of how much time has passed?
Since you've been talking to her, only a couple minutes.
Well, we've got a little bit more time, I think. And sort of look back and see if I hear the still, like, Paraphis still out there, like, jumbling stuff and whatever, right?
Yes. You can roll me a perception check if you want to, like, try and pay attention to anything he's doing. But Lydia's going to go on and say, well, since you've been wherever this is, I don't know if you know what's going on in the Lil Nagai right now, but the country is under siege from the Archblade. Somehow they were smuggling in soldiers, ships, terrai, armies, under the cover of ancient magic. It was my order's job to investigate. It was my order's job to investigate a Risen member that was killed, and it seemed that she was in contact with foreign diplomats to investigate, are trying to solve corruption in the Ilil Nagian government. That corruption seemed to be tied directly to my father, who was the one who made the deals. By the time... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. No, so she's still talking, right? So I thought she was, like, taking a pause. Sorry.
Well, no, she was pausing.
So your father was working with the corrupt politicians? Or with the Archblade?
She's gonna shrug and say, I don't know. By the time we had him captured and could finally question him, and Arcanist from the university came and blew up half of and attacked half of Iman's watch. She killed several Sunyeth guards, several Risen members, and the last I saw of my father, she grabbed his hand and teleported away.
And what happened when you grabbed his hand?
She grabbed his hand.
Yeah, so he didn't come with you whenever you teleported?
No, the woman, and she's gonna clarify, another Arcanist. She grabbed his hand and teleported away.
Uh-huh. You said in order. What order?
She's gonna say order 42. It is the Sunyeths, or it is an order of the Sunyeth that I am in charge of. Or, she'll pick up her fork and throw it back down and say, or that I was in charge of.
Alright, so let's... So what happened after your... Sorry.
Just for, Netra's sake, orders are like companies,
Okay.
Yeah.
Not like a Templar or like a faith thing or something, but like a company. Okay.
Yeah. If you want any additional information, you can roll a history check, but just on the baseline, the Sunyeth, basically, they organize their priests into tiny, small guilds of 5 to 10 people, and those are called orders, and they send them out to either prophesize or do specific tasks.
Okay. So like a mobilizing force of a priesthood.
Yes.
Okay. So I asked, so after your father was teleported away, what happened between then and you ending up here?
And she's gonna say, how do I know I can trust you? How do I know you're not going to try and use what I tell you to capture my friends?
Honey, or I'm gonna say, because if they were captured, they tell them to capture me as well, and quite frankly, I didn't survive 15 years here by turning on people I just met. I would have died a long time ago if that's how I behaved.
And she's going to nod and say, I've never known much about my father's political dealings, but I've known he's had powerful friends. For the most part, they've gotten me everywhere in life that anything I've tried to achieve, they've simply given me. And she's going to say, when my father was charged, when I was going to charge my father with the crime of assisting the Archblight, and he escaped our grasp, it became my duty to preside over Dockensdale until a new Supreme Light was chosen. I was only able to go about the task for several days before she's going to shake her head and say, I don't really know how to describe it. The shadows themselves consumed me. Assassins in the night, perhaps, kidnapped me, said on my father's orders they were doing it for my protection. The next thing I knew, she gestures to the stone walls and says, I was here, and I've been here for days.
You woke up in this room? You weren't out inside? You have never seen the outside of this castle? This tower?
She shakes her head and says, no, this is a tower?
Yes, and you're in the dungeon. And quite frankly, I just sort of stare out again, like, just in case Preface is outside, and then, quite frankly, you would be a sight to see amongst people, because they've never seen anybody so dry and not covered in mud and grime and rain. And that, I think, is why you've not been allowed to be outside.
And she's going to stand up and say, do you know Ayman Solom? Is he here? Can I seek an audience with him?
Who is Ayman Solom?
And she's gonna nod and say, so this really isn't a little Nagai, is it?
No.
And she's gonna say, that's my father.
Well, I've hoped that he's not here, because that would mean that freeing the people of the city would require taking him down. And I'm gonna ask if she,
You're gonna ask what?
Does she know, the group Kelkin? Like the group that Celebrus is part of.
Okay, how do you ask that?
We've had another stranger who showed up in almost as weird a manner as you. Only he showed up outside. Do you know, I'm gonna... Do you know of a group called Kelkin?
And her eyes are going to go wide and say, the Kalkin? They're here?
One is here. Do you know what why they would be here? Why he would be here? Just one?
Yeah, and she's going to... And she's going to start putting things together and say, oh, you don't know. The Kalkin were formed... They were formed around their city being destroyed. It was a horrible, horrible catastrophe before I was born. I heard tens of thousands died in seconds.
That would be this city.
And, I mean, you know, she's going to look around, but she can't see the city, and she's going to say, that's where we're at? In the ruins of it?
Not the ruins. It is still a city. It is still alive. Just not where it's supposed to be. We are submerged. We are covered in rain, water, and muck, and grime. But we are still alive. The ones that have survived this long, at least.
And she's going to say the Kalkin were formed to ensure that that tragedy never bestruck anyone else or any other nation. They're international peacekeepers in Cedal. They track magical matters and try and find anything going astray and solve it before it takes the lives of many. But this is, and you know, you're gonna see her shiver, and she's gonna say, "This is so eerie."
For me, it gives me hope, and for you, it should too. It means that someone out there is trying. For the longest time, we didn't even have that.
And she's gonna look and say, well, I mean, there's no bars. She's going to step forward to Netra and say, who's in charge of this city?
A vampire lord. What's his name again? Calcret? No, that's the place.
Overlord Cadris Nelteg.
Cadris Nelteg. Alright. I'm gonna say it's held by this vampire lord. That's very dangerous, strong, fearsome individual. He wipes the minds of anyone who dare speak out, who dare try and change the status quo.
She nods and says, and so the Kalkin are here? Are there any other religious organizations?
This is a small contingent of people that have just arrived, and as it stands, only a few of us are able to walk around without much trouble. Now I'm just going to say, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and I hope you know that releasing any of this information or changing your behavior in some way because of our conversation will lead to a lot of alarm, and quite frankly, I don't know what it would lead to as far as your situation or mine. This is a very slow burn that we have to do to save the people of the city, to save you, to save everyone. So please, do not try and take any rash actions. But do, at least, eat your food. It would be a pity to see someone die before they even got the chance to help.
And she's gonna nod and say, if you could deliver a message to Icium for me.
Okay.
Tell him that Lydia is here. Iman lives. And Dockensdale is led by and Dockensdale has no leader. If he can leave the same way that he came, I wish to go with him.
I'm just gonna, at that last part, I'm gonna be like, I don't think they know how they came. They showed up, just like you. They just showed up, as far as I know. But I will deliver the message.
And before, like, if Netra is like turning to go, she's going to stop him, or stop Netra and say, "You asked me if I remembered anything before this room," and she's gonna say, "It's vague. when they attacked me, I responded with everything I could to try and survive, but they eventually knocked me unconscious. But I remember the vision of a crystal the size of three people wide, maybe 2 people tall. It was white and opaque, like paint inside of a diamond. It was chilling just to be around.
That's very interesting to hear.
She nods and says, I just hope that if we find a way to break out of here, my father needs to be stopped.
Hopefully we will find a way, and hopefully this won't be the last time we get to talk. Be safe, and just make sure that, again, you keep yourself safe. These people are not to be trifled with. The people in this tower. And then I'm just gonna sort of walk out and like pretend that I'm on guard again and sort of pace and like talk and yeah.
Okay, and you know, after probably about 10 minutes of this, Treyek would be coming downstairs with, you know, with a candle with like half a notch left on it that's still lit. And as he's coming downstairs, you know, he's gonna say, there was a window between petitions. It's about time you got your candle and you took over your shift. Come on, hurry up now. I'll take over this great honor for you.
Okay. And I sort of fall in and just like sort of cast one look back at Lee and then walk again.
All right. As you are leaving, Lydia's going to walk to the edge of the cell. You know, peep her head around the doorway in your direction. Periphas, who is barely even paying attention to her, is going to say, Miss Sullum, we're here for your protection. It's not a prison, but you do need to stay inside of your room. She is going to sigh and then step back inside. And yeah, Netra can go upstairs, and that's where we'll end this session.
Very interesting. I feel like I could have asked a different set, and like went a different route, because I feel like now I could have been like, what did the other guards do to you or something like that, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Netra will have some information to give the party when they get back, so that's going to be good. Alright, so do you want me to give you experience now, or do you want to just wait till the end of the group session and I'll just give you the same amount that they earn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it'll be the same amount anyways, right?
I don't know. It's probably easier if I just wait. I don't know how my brain functions, it just functions randomly.
Yeah, I'll do it when I share the information with them and all that.
Alright, and so you won't be in attendance for our next session next week. So
yeah.
I will be in control of Netra, and I will likely just relay the message you know, Lydia gave her. But also I'll tell them to watch this session. So yeah, there we go. Alright, thank you. And thank you for everybody who watched. You guys enjoyed.